Hello there, everyone. I wanted to record a review for a game that we have recently beaten called 9 Years of Shadow. Whenever we beat a game, I like to talk about a game from a mechanical standpoint, from a story standpoint, and then an overall where we talk about whether I recommend it or don't recommend it. So to start out, mechanically, 9 Years of Shadow is very much a Metroidvania. It's got all the things you would expect: power ups to access areas, to find hidden things. There's breakable walls, platforming, some precision, some not. It's got bosses and boss rooms. So mechanically, everything you would kind of expect from Metroidvania, but it does have a system that a lot of other games don't have in the genre, which is where the main character here acquires power ups that are tied to colors, and the some of the enemies will be color coded, so you do extra damage if you have the color armor weapon equipped that allows you to double damage them. So there's green, blue, red, and yellow, and you'll see on the enemies they'll have a nice little outline, and if you use that element slash that color, it will allow you to do extra damage to them, which is really really cool. So it's you're swapping through the armors pretty often to do different abilities, different traversal things, as well as different fighting things. um and there is a another thing that you get near the end. I won't spoil what it is, but that also gives you kind of a nice, cool set of armor and all that stuff. Another big change is the healing mechanic. So the game has basically two healing mechanics, and then it handles health a little bit differently. So the first healing mechanic is whenever your bar reaches the end, you get a little quick time event where if you time it right, you can just get a burst of healing. It'll bring you back up to a certain amount of HP, and you can do that like one after another. However, the bar you get back will get shorter and shorter and shorter each time. Outside of that, you have your little teddy bear friend here, who is basically like a full heal, but it takes a certain amount of time to use it like a flask essentially, or some sort of reusable health resource. But so you have to kind of balance the type of fight you're doing, or the type of movement you're doing with your teddy bear friend here. And you also there's certain traversals that you can do that won't allow you to heal, so you have to find a way to like switch out of a traversal mode and heal. So there's a little bit of balancing. A lot of the bosses take advantage of you knowing how to use the traversal skill and switching in and out of those, as well as using another mechanic that you have, which is a ranged attack. Now, to the health mechanic, there is a bar that empties, and once that bar is empty, you have a certain amount of hits that you can take before you're actually dead. So it's not just once the bar is empty, you're gone. It's bar empty, take a certain amount of hits, then you're gone. So the game does have save rooms and auto saves and stuff like that. I don't remember it being too awfully terrible of a run back when you miss something. A lot of the bosses have a save room like really nearby, if not just like across the way. So it's very well structured in that regard. But yeah, so that's kind of the basic mechanics of the game. Of course, after that, it's kind of like Metroidvania. Fight your way through the environment until you reach, the bosses of each area, get your traversal skills, open a new area, reach the end, kind of thing. Now to the story. The story, in a little synopsis form, is our character here is living in a world where all of the color has been drained out of the world. It is in shadow, which is kind of where the name comes from. It's been in shadow for a while, so they go, I'm going to go try to take care of that. And then thus start their journey through this castle, to find out how to potentially end the shadow, the darkness, and bring color back to the world, while running into a ensemble of characters who all bring their own interesting things to the table. You'll meet a lot of musicians along the way, each playing their own instrument. You will meet some a few other NPCs, like this person here, who have their own goals in the castle or own connections to the castle. You actually meet your little ghost teddy bear friend in the castle as well, who is tied to the main story. So a lot of really good storytelling, and it connects really well with the content of this being about dealing with kind of like loss and grief and trauma in some cases. Very very not a very like high amount of trauma, but just you know, the base level of trauma, that kind of stuff, because it doesn't really go deeply into the trauma. It's more about dealing with like grief. Grief is the big one for this game, and from multiple characters' perspectives as well. But the story is pretty solid. It's definitely not a like super convoluted, why is all this things happening kind of story, which is good. I think that plays well with the type of game it is. But it also isn't so simple that you're just like, oh, it just wants me to get from A to B and that's it. So it does have a lot of interesting characters and twists and turns as you get through there. So overall, whenever I do an overall, I don't give a score. I don't do like a 5 stars or a 10 out of 10 or anything like that. I just basically talk about whether I recommend or not recommend the game. Overall, 9 Years of Shadow, I absolutely loved. I really did. It's a very beautiful game. The music is amazing. The aesthetic is amazing. The combat is very fluid. Like, everything flows well. I will say I do have one major gripe with the game, and it does happen at the end, unfortunately. They change the healing mechanic at the end of the game. I don't know if I got a bug or if that's just how it's supposed to work. But basically, I didn't have any way to like actively heal like we had done through the rest of the game. And it made the final boss probably 10 times harder than it needed to be. I was really, really disappointed with how the healing worked at the very end of the game. Again, I'm not going to spoil anything there, but that was basically the only takeaway I have from this game. The only major con I have from this game is it just felt very unfair and very unfun to fight the last boss. And I was told that like the developer said that boss was going to be like super difficult, which I don't mind. You know, we've played a bunch of super difficult games. It's just I felt like it was a little unfair to give us mechanics that were then taken away essentially. So not a big fan of the final boss and the structure of that. But overall, I absolutely love the rest of this game. So I would definitely recommend this game. Like I said, I would. If you like Metroidvanias, it's a must play. If you like really like strong aesthetics, really good music, it's a must play. Again, all of that with a caveat of no, going into the final boss, things will get very, very hard. So if you're not willing to or don't want to struggle against a very, very hard boss at the end of the game, maybe find it on a sale or something, or maybe just check out the final boss. It would spoil a little bit of the story, obviously, if you saw the ending, and obviously our playthrough here on YouTube is start to finish. So if you just want to watch that, I would appreciate it. But yeah, so definitely recommend it, and I'm very excited. This studio, Halberd Studios, will be working on, or they are working on, a game called Mariachi Legends, which is like a Mexican heritage pixel art Metroidvania, much in the vein of like the design of this game. And if that game is anything like this game, that game will be just as amazing, and I'll be just as happy with it as I was with this game. So thanks so much for watching this review. If you want to catch any more of our reviews here on YouTube, they're all in a playlist for you. Go click over there. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to check us live, we're live basically every day of the week except Saturday at MaskofGames. We're MaskofGames basically everywhere. You can find us very easily. Check us out on Twitch, and I will see you in the next review. Bye-bye.